What's up, guys? Today's a special vlog. Today's gonna be a training vlog. Today is Saturday. I don't know what date, to be honest. Lewis is coming down here to get a session in. We're gonna get a pull session in, like I mentioned earlier. Maggie's already running the laundry. We fed Noah, walked Vinny already. So I'm typically not used to waking up early. This is the time I usually wake up, or 12 o'clock. So working out this early, having this much food in my body is like, I'm not used to it. So I already had a cup of coffee about an hour ago. I'm gonna have something light. So for pre-workout, I had a shake. I just had a shake, protein shake. Have 2 clementines, 2 rice cakes, and I'm a protein cookie. And I'm gonna add the most important thing, which is some sodium, because we gotta get things going, get things flowing. So yeah, I'm gonna have this, and then we're gonna have a pull session. So all right, peeps, it's a beautiful day. Did my hair, and we are about to get this session going. Lewis is getting his bag right now, and we're heading to the gym. This guy's on a mini cut. We're gonna see how lean he is. Lean gains. Trying. What's up, guys? Here goes the pull workout session. Sorry about the mic. One of my Yeti mic is kind of out right now, so I'm going to be using the laptop's default mic. So what we did first was we began with 3 sets of pull-ups just to warm up the body, warm up the buys, the back, the lats, get things moving. Again, these are typically what I do recommend to my clients, but sometimes it's hard because like it's always super packed by the pull-up area, but these are really good if you do about like 8 to 15 reps anywhere around that range. Remember, you want to go slow with the eccentric and concentric, so that way you're kind of like utilizing all muscle fiber, getting the blood work into the lats. So the first movement that day, Lewis and I, what we typically like to do is like choose any movements that he feels that he needs to work on. And as you can see, his physique is really nice, except for one of his laggy parts is his back, and something we're working hard right now is to bring up his back. So the first movement we're doing is the chest supported rolls. What we want to do is go for like a wider stance, so that way you're working the upper back, the rhomboid, and the traps. As you can see, we're kind of tweaking his form right now to really pull with the back and drive back with the elbows. Typically, a lot of times, it's very normal to kind of, while performing this movement, to kind of like just really overstretch. What I mean by overstretching is losing the tension of the back. So stretching is always good, but you don't want to go to a point where you're kind of like resetting and you have to retract each time. Because the way I'm doing it now is I'm getting the full entire movement throughout the whole entire movement of the exercise. I'm getting the full eccentric and the full concentric, eccentric, and it's really squeezing hard throughout the whole entire movement, and that's what you want. You want your body to work throughout the entire movement and not just one part of the movement. So as you can see, Lewis is much more slower this set. Definitely controlling it. He's not over stretching, not overextending it, and right now you see his back working much more, where right now as he's stretching, he's still working, but he's still kind of like focusing that tension on his back. And that's something that we want to do, because the more concentration we work on building that mind muscle connection, it's going to really help him develop a thicker and a more improved back. Here goes my second set. I'm working with 3 plates and a quarter. This is typically like a lighter weight for me, but because this is my 3rd pull session of the week, what I did was just kind of like drop the weight and focus more on the squeezing. As you can see, my body is getting thick. Off season has been treating me well. Dad bod is improving. Definitely love what I'm seeing so far. Next movement we're going to be working on is the single arm dumbbell rows. Something we want to really keep in mind is that when you're bringing this, you want to kind of visualize yourself doing like a J hook. So what I mean by J hook is you want to really pull with your lower lats. Vision yourself on a iso row machine when you're kind of keeping your back straight, but when you're driving back, you're driving your elbows back and just really squeezing your lower lats. This movement right here is going to really help build um, that thickness on that lower lats, and that's something that a lot of bodybuilders kind of lag at some point. Remember, if anybody really wants to compete, most of the money shot comes from the back, and luckily that's one of my stronger points, so I can actually help Lewis kind of really build a bigger back right now. So while we're working on today, we really want to just help focus on any movements that Lewis really needs to work on, just to help maximize and optimize every training session. So here you're gonna see me doing like a J hook. I'm really just squeezing and pulling with my lower lats. So I'm driving my elbows, but I'm also kind of using my muscle connection and focusing that tension on that lower lat. So that's where you have that big slab of meat on the back. Something that from looking at this angle, I feel like I really have to work on is my are my hamstrings. I feel like my hamstrings really shrunk ever since Noah was born. My legs kind of took a hit, but I still have a long way to go, a long off season, and I'm really just taking my time and enjoying every day, every training session right now. My training block right now is I'm running an upper lower rest. And then I have a couple more other leg days, hypertrophy leg days. So it's definitely keeping things interesting and fresh right now. So it's not getting stale yet. That's something you want to do sometimes. But I'm also keeping all movements very simple, basic. As you can see, we're not really doing anything fancy. No fancy techniques. We're just really trying to improve my muscle connection. That's something I took a while to learn. I think this year my mind muscle connection is definitely better than it was in the previous off seasons, and my physique is showing. I mean, it takes time as well because I have been training for a longer time, at least more serious compared to my other off seasons in the past, and I can definitely see it now. Hopefully, what I know I can kind of pass on to Lewis, trying to help him work on his technique and just really help him build a better, more well-rounded physique because Lewis is a young guy and he has lots of potential for the natural bodybuilding stage, and I just remember being at that age, I look nothing like him. And so for me, like I just want to teach him right, have him keep doing it, as Jeff Albert says, putting pennies in the bank and just really let it add up, and over time it's gonna develop itself. So just gotta have patience. Just gonna critique yourself and have patience. Um, as you can see, this is my second set. I think we did 3 sets here, and we just really took our time, really working on it. Something that I also need to work on is my front lats and also my lower lats as well. One of my mistake from the previous off season is that I kind of slowed down my back workouts, meaning like I knew it was a strong point, and I kind of like slowed off a little bit because I thought it was good enough, but it was a big mistake because when I got on this pro stage, when I was compared to like the bigger guys, um, it didn't really look that impressive because guys were like 3-4 feet taller than me, like 30, 40 pounds heavier than me, and I was just like kind of like overshadowed. All right, so the next movement we're gonna work on that day was the pullover machine. Now this is a very interesting one because generally for me, I don't really do pullovers because my mind muscle connection is really poor, especially pullovers with dumbbells. Now the great thing about this powerhouse, or if any other gyms that you guys go to, if there is a pullover machine, it's a great machine because it really locks you in and helps you focus on the tension. Like right now, I'm only working with like a plate on each side, and guys, I'm telling you right now, at the top, I'm getting a stretch on my lats. Um, it's something that I haven't really perfected yet for me to really say like I'm hitting like top numbers right now. I honestly think this one Lewis was like much better than I was, and believe it or not, I actually took some cues from Lewis during this exercise and really just and that's the beautiful thing about bodybuilding because at the end of the day, you guys can learn from each other no matter how many years experience you have or how many years you don't have under your belt. It's fine because you know just like how Lewis has a weakness, I have my own weakness for me, and I'm telling you guys, you know, it's a work in progress no matter how great you are. All right, after this, I want to do some, I would say like cable rolls, but Lewis really wants to work on this. And I'm glad he actually spoke up because he was like, I really wanted to feel more. So again, with these ISO chest supported row, what we like to do is you want to really pull with the lower lats. Again, we want to work on not overextending, but then you want to work on controlling the weight, meaning that you want to have like a consistent movement throughout the whole exercise. As you can see, Lewis has improved his mind muscle connection right now. You can see the lower back working, the lats, and it's crazy because looking at this video, if you guys watch my previous videos, Lewis looks just like me. And the funny thing was when I posted this video on Instagram, Maggie was saying like, "Oh wow, he actually looks like you," which is a great thing because at the end of the day, as a coach, I want my athletes to look better than me. That's the thing about being an educator. Like for example, I want my students at my job to be more successful than me. I want my son Noah to one day become more successful than me. As you can see right now, um, the lower lats for me definitely I packed on a lot of size this off season, and believe it or not, I still feel like there's a lot of room to go. Like yeah, sure, I made a lot of improvement, but it's definitely not maximized right now, meaning that I still have a lot of room to grow. Even though my back looks big, my arms are beefy, um, you know, I'm planning to really bump up my food right now, and then I'm going to really push this off season for like another 4 or 5 months. Most likely, I won't be mini cutting until February. If I can hold this condition, eat more food, get a little bit bigger, and then mini cut in February, I'll be super happy. Next movement, lat pull downs, and this is also kind of where a lot of people typically lose the mind muscle connection on their way up at the top. As you can see, we're working on helping Lewis focus the tension and just pulling with the lats. A lot of times people are swinging back, and that really takes a lot of the momentum, and that really takes a lot of the workload off the lats. As you can see right there, like Lewis is really working right now. Look at his lats. Every muscle part is working right now. And that's what you want when you guys are working with the lat pull downs. It's crazy how this movement is it's a simple movement, but like again, sticking with basic foundations are great because you want to master it each movement. No matter how many years you've been working out, you could just keep fine tuning the mind muscle connection, and that's something you want to do. And as you can see, I'm just really proud of Lewis. He's not swinging; it's definitely controlled, and he's really pulling his lats. For me, this is something I worked with a lower workload that day because again, third session of the week. Just really continue building my lats. I do want to be wider. I do want to be thicker. Just want to help create the illusion. Alright, so this is pretty much our last pull movement. We're working with conventional deadlifts. For me, for my block, what I like to do is I like to do touch and goes because I like to keep the weight moderate and I like to go for higher reps, so higher volume. But for Lewis, something we want him to do is just have a more controlled movement because it's been so explosive where he's taking a lot of the workload off. Here is my set. Again, it's 315. This is actually a lot of weight for me. So I'm just really working from 8 to 12 range. Again, they felt pretty good. It's a lot lighter, but it's nothing impressive. I mean, I've definitely should be pulling a little bit more, but again, just trying to get the groove back after taking some time off and not having this exercise into my rotation is just, back to the drawing board. And again, that's just something that I'm always going to have to go through. Right now, Lewis again. I think this set is actually beefing up 3 plates. Something that Lewis really wanted to do was to slowly warm up and acclimate. I actually thought this was like a better set because you see how controlled it was. Like his back is super straight. I would like to kind of like minimize his thrust, but again, it's a power movement, so it's pretty good. Whatever's comfortable for him. As you can see, he has a pretty solid base foundation, and I'm really proud of him. I mean, we talked about working together, helping him get on stage, and that's still one of the dream that he wants to do, and that's something I would like to help him reach that goal. And it'll be really nice. And this is my last set right here. I think I only worked 2 sets that day. Again, I had to slow down my pace after watching the video, and actually after watching Lewis. So that's not that bad. So it's something that I typically do a lot is I like to switch on and off with touching goals or kind of like stopping goals, but I take my time. It's more of like a hybrid movement for me, and for me, I'm not really trying to rack up the weight. I'm just trying to hit the volume and build that lower back density because that's something I really want to bring up this off season as well. All right, so the next movement before my camera dies, we're working with dumbbell side laterals. Again, this is something that I need to work on. It's also something Lewis needs to work on. What we want to do is just really minimize the explosiveness at the top. You want to control, like you see how Lewis is coming at the dead stop. I think the next set, what I did was I just kind of like told Lewis to kind of like minimize it a little bit, kind of still work it throughout the whole entire movement. As you can see, my rear delts could improve. That was one of the critiques that one of the judges gave me, and I take all their critiques serious because that's something I want to bring up. And this is going to be the last clip of Lewis. And thank you guys for watching. The camera actually died before we fill any bicep movement, but this was a workout that we worked together, and we're hoping to link up again. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.